Hello, it is Tiara Marie of tiaramarieart.com and Tiara Mart on Instagram and here on YouTube. Thank you for coming back and watching another one of my videos. So today I have a video of me doing a sketch. This is something that wasn't pre-planned or anything. I guess you might have inferred that from it being a sketch, but um, I create something that I felt really good about by the end of this, and it was something very free flowing and just kind of me in tapping into that meditative practice of art and really letting my emotions come out of me, come through my hand, come through my mind and onto the page. So originally I wanted to talk about this piece in terms of making art, kind of like co-creating with your emotions and your emotional self. And the more I found I was trying to talk about that, the more I found I had no idea what to say about it. I mean, honestly, it's something that it's kind of intuitive for me really. And it it can be as simply said as to just let go and let whatever needs to come out onto the page. Go in, don't have any plan, don't have any expectations, just draw or paint. Use whatever medium feels right to you and just continue to make moves that feel right. And the more meditative it feels, the more that I think that you're doing it accurately. But ultimately, you would be the only person that would really be able to decide if that's true or not. You're the one that is sitting there feeling those emotions in your body and allowing or disallowing them to leave, to be expressed, to be worked through. So I've recorded this several times and I'm like, okay, well then if I'm not going to talk about co-creating with your emotions, what am I going to talk about? And part of it you guessed, I decided, well, okay, let's go ahead and mention co-creating with your emotions because that's this piece. But the flip side of that is what it's like being an artist who is someone who is very sensitive and also releases that sensitivity onto the page and imbues that into their artwork. Because that in itself is very difficult to contend with because ultimately if you are an artist who is working to put your stuff in a gallery, to put your stuff online, to make prints, to sell work, you're going to show that artwork to other people. So you're not only expressing your emotions, but you're putting them out there for everyone to see: family, friends, people you're in relationship with, people that you dated 10 years ago, people that you might date 10 years from now. I don't know. I'm just thinking of everyone, your neighbors, um, that guy halfway across the world that you're never going to meet, never going to talk to, but he has seen every picture you've ever posted to Instagram. There's potential for all of that, right? And that is an incredible level of vulnerability. And it's something that you might have to contend with if you're somebody who paints from a place of vulnerability. And it can be difficult. I found that that was something that I wrestled with the entire time I was in college for painting. And the subsequent 10 years after that where I shied away from putting my artwork out there and was like, man, I love this thing. I've dedicated myself to it, but I don't know if I can actually do this. I don't know if I'm strong enough. And a lot of that comes from, you know, when you get past the entry point of making the work and you get into the place where you have to do the other side of the business, you have to market it, you have to sell it, you have to be able to talk about it and build community from it, and people want to know what was going on in your head and what you were thinking about. And you have to write artist statements, and you have to put help curators put labels up on the wall, and you have to actually you know reveal your magician's trick. You have to reveal not only things like your materials, but honestly, it's like giving up the inner workings of your mind. And that can feel incredibly daunting and incredibly scary. And if you are someone who is not great with emotional vulnerability, or even someone who just comes from a culture where that's not mm, like typical, it can be very difficult and feel embarrassing and trying, and it can hold you back. And let me tell you, I'm saying this from experience because it's something that I've let hold me back for all this time. This is not the first attempt that I've had at a YouTube channel. This is not the first attempt that I've had at posting. This is not the first attempt that I've had at making it as an artist and building up my career as an artist. But every time before this, I've backed away and shied away from it because I wasn't ready to talk about my artwork. I wasn't ready to talk about the inner workings of my mind. And I found myself in a career of talking about other people's artwork and talking about materials and how things function. And I did that because it felt safer for me. I felt much more secure in that. And don't get me wrong, I love to teach art. I really do. And I'm excited to create videos for this channel where I get to talk about materials and I get to talk about process and I get to talk about other people's materials and processes. And I get to talk about the emphasis of emotion in other people's artwork and I get to talk about their thoughts and feelings behind it. But ultimately, that isn't what being an artist is. Being an artist is being able to do all of that yourself, or choosing very deliberately not to. It's truly an experience of what you make it to be, but there are certain things that are going to be expected from you or desired from you, and whether or not you put those things out in the world is ultimately your choice. And for a long time, that was a choice that I was not willing to make. I think that I knew that my art had such emotional sentimentality to it and such depth that I didn't want to speak about. I really wanted my work to speak for itself. But the way that I was painting and the work that I was making at the time, I don't know that it was doing that. I don't, and is it ever really doing that? I mean, will we have all of this discourse in art history where we have different critics and historians giving their opinions about people's artwork if it was all so cut and dry and it was supposed to just be what we see and we don't ever talk about it? No. So there's going to be discourse, there's going to be conversation, and people are going to want to know things. And if I am popular within my lifetime, like I would like to be, then I'm going to be here alive and around for it. And isn't it such a privilege to be able to talk to the world about your artwork and let them know what it really means and where it truly comes from? So that's where I'm at now. I'm much more in tune with my emotions in that way. And those conversations are ones that I'm much more ready for than when I was 18 or 21 or even 25. Now, at my ripe old age of 28, haha. This is for anyone who's younger. Yeah, 28 is definitely not old. Not only is it not old, but it's still fairly young, especially because I plan to live to be very old. Like I think I'm gonna be like 105. I just have to stop eating so much processed food. But yeah, this was a little insight into my brain. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about it, and this is a lovely piece that I refer to as my puddle sketch, where I have this figure sinking, floating, but also sinking, being hugged and held, but also kind of engulfed and like taken in by this water, with the sunset reflecting on them. And I can't tell you what exactly I was feeling when I made it, but I think I think that description helps. So I hope you enjoy this video. Check me out at tiaramariart.com. My Instagram's tiaramart, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks.